Hey everyone, it's Mari and I'm coming to you from Bang Krachao Island. It's in the middle of Bangkok and it's called the Green Lung. And if you look around, you can see why. It's super green, super lush. It's awesome. You would never know you're in Bangkok here. So I'm making this video today because a few weeks ago I got the opportunity to go on this one-day offline trip with Cathay Pacific Airlines and Mashable. So basically Cathay Pacific has this Life Well Traveled campaign all about traveling well and really experiencing traveling and being in the moment. And to branch off of that, they came up with a one-day offline campaign, which is really awesome. The whole idea is to spend a day offline, especially when you're traveling, to just kind of take a day to enjoy, to really take it in and to remember what traveling is all about. This campaign really resonated with me because it's all about what I love. And I know before, when I used to travel, like when I was younger and before social media became such a dominant thing, what I loved most about traveling was getting lost and not being connected and just kind of experiencing the local flavors, smells, sights, meeting new people. That's all the stuff I love about traveling, and I think now with our digital world we can sometimes forget those important things. We're so, worried about posting on Instagram and Twitter, and I myself included, I am just as guilty as anyone else of doing this. A couple weekends ago, it was the weekend before I left to come to Thailand, I was invited to go on this trip, and it was with other fellow travel vloggers and bloggers, and we went to this farm upstate New York in Hudson Valley, which was so beautiful. And so the agreement was that for 24 hours we would all turn off our phones and not go online at all. At first I was like, yeah, no problem. Then once it started happening, I was like, oh, this is harder than I thought. And really what it was is that since I'm so used to capturing footage for you guys and taking pictures for Instagram and stuff, it just felt so weird not to be filming anything or taking photos. Luckily there was the wonderful team from Mashable there photographing everything for us, hence why I have these photos. Yeah, it was a super awesome weekend. We did yoga, we went apple picking, which is something that I wanted to do ever since I moved to New York, and I just never got around to it, so it was like super awesome. I was so happy to do that. Yeah, I reverted back to my childlike state and was just like skipping along through the apple trees, and I was just so happy. There were horses that we got to interact with and hang out with. I scooped manure. Yeah, and I did it with a smile on my face. So what's cool about being offline is that you really get a chance to connect with the people that you're around and really embrace them. You know how often you're talking to someone and they're on their phone and you know that they're not really paying attention to you. They're kind of just like, sure, yeah, cool. But you know they're not paying attention. This was nice because when you're talking to someone, they're really listening and you could have real conversations and get to know people. And I got a chance to get to know people that I had only interacted with online before. So it was really cool to meet these people face to face. It was just a really fun day. We did hiking, we had a picnic. All of my favorite things, really. Oh, and there was one surprise of something that I did not know was something I would enjoy, which is square dancing. Seriously, I never thought I would like square dancing, but I think it happened at the end of the day, and by that point we were all so tuned in and just trying to have a good time. I think why I liked it so much is that when you're square dancing and there's all these moves that you're trying to remember, you can't really think about anything else besides what you're doing. And I seriously was just so happy. I think I had the goofiest grin plastered to my face the entire time. It was just pure joy. I really loved it. It was just my mind was completely focused on the present and focused on the moment and just focused on what I was surrounded by. Oh, and then we lit Chinese lanterns. We wrote down our hopes and lit them, and that was really magical and nice. We roasted marshmallows, we had a bonfire. Basically, it was my perfect weekend. So the next day when I was able to turn on my phone, I realized that it wasn't even actually that satisfying. I thought it would be really exciting, but it wasn't. I checked my social media, my email. I was like, okay, the world's continued on. It was just kind of a nice thing to remember that you don't always have to be tuned in and connected. And to do that trip right before I left on this big trip through Southeast Asia could not have been more perfect. Here I don't have cell phone service, so that automatically makes it easier. But I've really just learned to appreciate the moment a little bit more and take more personal time for myself. And so the reason I was thinking about this is because last night I stayed at this awesome treehouse hotel over here, And there was a Firefly tour, which I was so excited about. I thought it was just going to be like a walk at night, kind of the Fireflies I'm used to are just kind of near the ground. When I started heading out for it, I was holding my camera and they're like, oh, you can't take that. Which at first I was like, what? Why? And then I thought, okay, just embrace the moment, it'll be fine. And then I kept walking and they're like, okay, here's a life jacket. And then I realized we were going on a boat. And I was so excited. I ended up being the only one on the tour, so it was this private tour. I walked down the pier, which is just kind of these floating wood platforms. So I was like really walking down the pier, and then I get onto this 12-foot long-tailed boat, one of those like colorful, typical wooden Thai boats that you might picture. And there's just the guy who was driving it, and then me, and I was sitting at the very front and kind of just looking out. I had no phone, no camera. And I just had myself, no one else there, and the guy who was working it didn't really speak English, so it was just myself, and it was the nicest thing ever. And then when we saw the Fireflies, they were these like really tiny like fireflies that were up in the trees, and it was nothing like I'd ever seen before. It was like the tree had all these little twinkling lights, like kind of like all natural Christmas trees. And it was just so magical. It really just reminded me about this One Day Offline campaign. That is what travel is all about. And for me, that is a life well traveled, and that's what living well is all about. It's just taking those moments just for yourself where you're not distracted by anything else. You're just fully in the moment. You're appreciating the little things and you're just being there. I'm really just glad I had that One Day Offline experience right before I came on this trip, just to put me in that mindset and remind me that that's what life is and that's what travel is about. Anyways, I encourage you all to take some time and just go offline. You don't have to be traveling. Just for a day, maybe go to a park, go walk around without your phone, go on a hike. It doesn't have to be outdoorsy too. If you don't like outdoorsy things, just do something. Spend the afternoon away from your phone, or go 24 hours. Challenge yourself to that. I assure you that you can do it, and then it's going to be awesome and you'll feel really refreshed. Write me in the comments below, or tweet me, or send me an Instagram of something that you would do on One Day Offline, #OneDayOffline. I'd love to see what you're doing. That would be really cool. Thank you all so much for watching. Happy travels, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me. Bye. I'm excited because I love boats, and I love food, and I love sunsets. All good things. Yeah.